Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are digging into the Pectra upgrade.
Which is a monumental one for Ethereum.
Absolutely. Our mission is to take all the technical docs and analysis and just distill what this massive effort really means for scaling, for staking, and for you, the average user.
And it is massive.
It's the biggest upgrade since the merge, right? In
Yeah.
terms of sheer scope. We're talking, what, 11 different EIPs?
11 Ethereum improvement proposals all rolled into one. It's a combination of the Prague and Electra upgrades.
Prague and Electra.
And it's really a critical evolution after the Denton upgrade. This isn't just a technical cleanup. It's solidifying Ethereum's foundation.
Positioning it as the main settlement layer for finance on-chain.
Exactly, with a huge focus on capacity and cost efficiency.
Okay, so let's cut right to the chase. If you had to summarize Pectra's impact in just one headline, what's the big takeaway?
I mean, Pectra sets the stage for dramatically cheaper Layer 2 fees. Think fractions of a cent, potentially. And it brings in fundamental improvements for a much smoother user experience.
Dramatically cheaper fees. Let's unpack that. The core mission here seems to be more network capacity and lower fees, especially for L2s, right?
That's the heart of it, yeah. That's where most people are actually using Ethereum these days.
So how did Pectra tackle that?
Well, it went after it on two fronts. First, right on Layer 1, the base blockchain, the gas limit per block jumped up to 60 million.
60 million? That's a pretty big increase. It's like widening the main highway.
It is. Bitwise did some analysis suggesting that this alone could nearly double the base transaction throughput over the next year.
Okay, that's a straightforward L1 boost. But the real magic for scaling for those L2 fees is in the blobs, which came from Denken. What happened there?
Right, blobs. They're that super efficient temporary data storage for rollups. Pectra with EIP 7691 basically just supercharged them.
Supercharged how?
It doubled the target number of blobs per block from 3 to 6, and the absolute maximum allowed went from 6 all the way to 9.
Wow. So you're just flooding the market with data space. That's where the real cost savings come from, I assume.
That is exactly where the rubber meets the road. Analysts are projecting something like a 30 to 40% reduction in L2 fees.
For rollups like Arbitrum and Base?
Yep. For all the big ones, we're getting tantalizingly close to that 1 cent swap cost.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
But, some rollups were still using the old expensive way of posting data. Did Pectra do anything to nudge them along?
It did more than nudge. It gave them a big economic shove. That was EIP 7623. It strategically increased the cost of using call data for big data dumps.
And so the old method just got way more expensive.
Prohibitively expensive. You can think of call data as permanent archival storage. It's high security, so it costs a lot. Blobs are like cheap temporary sticky notes.
And you don't use the expensive archive for your sticky notes.
Precisely. It forces rollups to fully migrate to the cheaper blob layer, which ensures everyone gets to see those super low fees.
Okay, moving on from scaling, Pectra also had this iPhone moment for wallets. EIP 7702. Why is that one so transformative?
7702 is a genuine game changer. It lets your standard wallet, your basic EOA...
The one everyone have.
Right, the one you use right now. It lets it temporarily act like a smart contract account, but just for a single transaction.
So what does that actually let me do? If I'm trying to use a DeFi app, what changes?
3 huge things right off the bat. First, transaction batching. You can approve a token, stake it, and set a preference all in one single click.
Oh, that is huge. No more multiple pop-ups.
No more. Second, and this is a big one, flexible gas payments.
Meaning I don't always need ETH to pay for a transaction.
Exactly. You can pay your gas fees with ERC20 tokens. This gets rid of a huge point of friction, especially for new users.
I can't tell you how many times I've had to find a few bucks worth of ETH just to do a simple swap.
We've all been there. And third, it allows for temporary programmability. So you could do things like multi-sig for one specific action.
But anytime you add programmability, you add complexity and security concerns, right? What's the trade-off here?
That's the critical question. It's convenient, but it does open new attack vectors if your private key is compromised.
How so?
Well, if a phishing scam tricks you into signing a transaction that delegates control, even temporarily, a malicious contract can then do a lot of damage.
It could use those new superpowers to drain your funds.
And we saw this happen almost immediately. Security researchers spotted bots, they call them crime enjoyers, that were built specifically to exploit this feature on compromised wallets.
So there were real-world losses.
Oh, yeah. One user lost about $150,000 in ETH. A phishing attack got them to sign a malicious contract, and the new features made the theft instant.
That's a huge warning. You have to be so careful what you sign.
Even more so now. Verify everything. Okay, moving on from wallets, Pectra also had some major goodies for developers.
All right, EIP 2537. It sounded very technical. Can you break that down for us?
All you really need to know is it gives developers a super fast, built-in tool, a pre-compile, for verifying zero-knowledge proof.
ZK snarks.
The very same. The outcome is that it becomes way easier, cheaper, and faster to verify complex cryptography on-chain.
Which is good for who?
It's great for staking pools, for bridges between chains, for restaking protocols, anything that relies on those proofs for security. It lowers the barrier to building really advanced privacy-preserving apps on Ethereum.
Okay, now let's shift to the engine room. Staking. Pectra didn't just tweak things here. It fundamentally changed the architecture.
It really did. EIP 7251 is probably the single biggest change to staking since the merge.
And this is the max effective balance, or max E.
Right. It increased the max stake for a single validator 64-fold, from 32 ETH all the way up to 2,048 ETH.
A 64 times increase. What does that mean for the big players, like Coinbase or Lido?
For them, it's an operational miracle. They can take hundreds, maybe thousands of their little 32 ETH validators and consolidate them into fewer, much larger nodes.
Which means less complexity, lower costs.
Drastically lower. It reduces the messaging overhead on the whole network, makes everything more efficient.
What about the little guy? The solo staker at home, do they benefit?
Absolutely. Before, if you earned rewards over 32 ETH, that extra ETH was just sitting there not earning anything. Now you can just add it to your stake in 1 ETH increments.
So you can compound your rewards within the same validator?
You can compound all the way up to 2,048 ETH. It's a huge efficiency boost for everyone.
And the efficiency gains didn't stop there, right? EIP 61110 tackled the wait times for new validators.
Yeah, that was just a pure quality of life upgrade. It integrated the deposit process directly into the execution layer.
Yeah.
The result is just staggering.
How fast are we talking?
Activation time dropped from around 13 hours, which felt like forever, to just 13 minutes.
13 hours to 13 minutes.
Assuming there's no queue, yeah. It completely changes the onboarding experience.
Amazing. And last, on staking, EIP 7002, which was about security. Trustless exits.
This is a big one for anyone who delegates their stake. Before, exiting a validator relied on the online vulnerable hotkey.
So if your node operator got hacked, you could be in trouble.
You could be. Now, EIP 7002 lets you trigger the exit with your cold key, the one you keep secure and offline. It removes that huge trust dependency.
So we've got more capacity, smarter wallets, and way more efficient staking. Let's look at the data since Pectra went live. Did it work?
The results were immediate. On staking, we've already seen over 11,000 validators start to consolidate. That's reduced the total active validator count by over 16,000.
So it's already reducing network load.
Exactly as planned. And the average stake per validator is slowly ticking up as people compound rewards.
And on the scaling side, are the L2s using the new blob space?
They jumped on it. L2 transaction counts spiked from about 8 million to 14 million right after the upgrade. And the key metric, total blob fees, have dropped to almost 0.
Because there's so much new supply.
So much. We're seeing about 4 blobs per block being used, but the new target is 6. So there's still plenty of room for demand to grow before fees start to rise again.
It really does sound like a phenomenal success across the board.
It is, but we do have to circle back to that security risk with EIP 7702.
The smart wallets.
Right. The tech is great, but the risk for users who aren't careful is real. Those automated bots are out there hunting for compromised keys to exploit this new power. We can't stress that enough.
A necessary dose of realism. Overall, then, Pectra really shows this aggressive commitment to making Ethereum scale and just be easier to use. It's a huge step forward.
Without a doubt. Joseph Lubin called it a big one in Ethereum's whole journey. But it does leave us with a final thought, especially around staking. Well, this move to consolidate stake into fewer, larger, more efficient nodes, up to 2,048 ETH, is great for stability and for institutions. But it does raise a question for you, the listener, to think about.
Which is?
Does this trend risk trading off some degree of decentralization for that operational efficiency? By having fewer, bigger players, is the network becoming more centralized in a new way? What trade-offs are you comfortable with in this pursuit of scale?
That's a deep question for the community to really think about. Thank you for walking us through this monster of an upgrade. You really touched every part of the network.
It was a big one. My pleasure.
If you want to dig into the details of EIP 7772 or track those L2 fee metrics yourself, all the sources we used are in the show notes. Make sure you're subscribed, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.